Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar sessions today. So just to make sure, Cindy, you can see my screen.
Yes, I
Can
can
you
see
hear me?
this.
Can I get a raise of hand if you can hear me? Cool. Today's sessions will be recorded, so if there is anything that you've thought of but we have not covered, or you have questions after the sessions, please do not hesitate to watch the webinar again or reach out to us and let us know. Just a little bit of background about GovReports. We commenced operations since 2010 as an SPR enabled software based on the cloud. And let me just get it started as well. So today's session is basically for people who are new to GovReports and or who have not been using GovReport extensively and want to know all the setup and what can they do to efficiently using GovReports for their practice. So I'm going to go through the setup. So when you register, there will be three components, three steps to set up. The first is to set up the two-factor authentications. So in GovReports, you would have three options. Either one is email, one-time password to your email, or you can have the one-time password to your mobile phone, or the third option, which is the Google Authenticator, which you can set it up once you got the account registered. If you haven't done the Google Authenticator, you can do it subsequently, or if you can go back to the settings and get it set up. We do recommend to use the Google Authenticator because sometimes mobile phone or email can be unreliable depending on the service provider. Mobile text message to your mobile. Our GovReports use Telstra, but like I've said, sometimes it can be unreliable. And if you have the third option, Google Authenticator, we do recommend that because it is from our experience, it is more reliable. Okay. The
Tiana, are you
Google
there? Sorry.
Authenticator,
Tiana. So the
yeah,
screen that we are seeing at the moment, it's the
yeah.
PowerPoint one. Can you? I think you're just. I mean, on the presentation one is a different one.
Can you not see my screen?
I can
Are
see
you
your
do
screen,
you see
but
the
it's
dashboard?
still on the getting started.
Oh, okay. How do I share this?
So you need to share the other one, which has been published for presentation.
Hang on, let me share it again. Mm, am I still online?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, damn. Sorry. I can't go back to my screen. Right. Let me share the screen again. Apologies. All right. Let me do it this way. Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can see the PowerPoint one. Yeah, just can you press F5?
Yep. Okay. I'll do the slideshow now.
Yeah,
Okay. You see
yeah,
the two-factor 2FA? Cool.
yeah.
All right. Um, Apologies for that. Technologies do sometimes happen. As I mentioned before, if you haven't set up the Google Authenticator, you can go into settings, my account, and security settings to set up the Google Authenticator. Once you scan the barcode or enter the code in there and confirm, your Google Authenticator will be set up so that you can use as one of the options when you log into GovReports. Once you've got that the two-factor authenticator set up, the third step to set up the GovReports account is the uh, ATO software nominations. If you haven't done that, you can do that after you have logged in as well. So when you log into GovReport, this is the dashboard. This is the dashboard. As if you're not unfamiliar with GovReports, GovReports has not only the tax lodgement components, but you also have the e-signature, the accountant's ledger, as well as the legal practice management tool. And we also have integrated ATO online services within GovReports. So I will go through the features of GovReports. As you can see there, the dashboard, on the dashboard, you can see a few services, a few features that you can use. The lodgement reports, the outstanding report, which is the show you the upcoming and overdue lodgements for your clients once you got it set up. The reports, what you're currently working on, or what you have lodged and or prepared in GovReports. And of course the widgets. These widgets can be set up, or like depending on your liking, you can have it set up or customized to your requirements. We do have a couple of widgets which I will go through when we log on to the accounts. Okay. As part of the setup, the client settings, there are two options. You can add one by one, or you can import the client list when at the initial stage. The add one client at the time, you can do it manually, or you can also import from the ATO. If you do it manually, data entry, once you enter, our system is integrated with it has the inbuilt ATO ABN lookup and TFN validation. So when you enter the client's details, the ABN, you would see that some pre-filling informations will automatically come up. And of course, if it's for an individual or for tax returns, you will need to have the tax file number of the entity or the clients. I normally use the import from the ATO. If the client is already on your ATO agent portal, you can click single import from ATO and just enter the ABN or the TFN if it's an individual, along with their date of birth, and the information will be pre-filled from the ATO so that you can directly save onto your GovReports account without having to do so much data entry. You can also, if you want to fully using the system, you can import the bulk options. There are two options under the import: bulk from the ATO, which will import your client list directly from the ATO, or the clients register under your tax agent's number can be imported into GovReports directly with a click of a finger. Or you can import the CSV file from of your client base, of your client data, or sorry, your client base from your existing software. Now, the difference between the two, if you count whatever the software that you're currently using, if you have staff set up or segmented, allocated to different staff member, the partners and so forth in your practice, then we would recommend the CSV file upload, because then it would also bring across the managers, and you can create tags within the client list, so that the client's segmentations under the different partners or different managers can also be carried forward into GovReports. This is like I said, if you adding the clients one by one, if you choose the import options, you can see there the information after entering the ABN or tax file number. The information will be preview of the client's name, and then make sure you also tick the pull outstanding report, so that once you save the data and the next thing, you can also bring up the outstanding reports for the clients. Okay. If you choose to import from the ATO, just make sure also later, and this you can do it afterward as well. Just after you have initially, if you initially you add some clients into your into the account, but now you want to bring the whole client list into GovReports, just make sure you also tick the override existing clients in GovReports so that you don't have the duplicate clients details in the account. Single import options, and similarly, if you single import from the clients, just make sure that you tick that box as well. And contact details, you can sync from the ATO to bring across the client's address and contact other contact details that the ATO has on their database. If you're bringing in from CSV file, just you just have to do a little bit of mapping and just follow the prompts to bring the client database across. Lodgement settings, there are a few options there. The ATO software nomination, if you didn't previously do the ATO software nominations, you can now do that. Or if you also along the way, if you change your ABN or change your agent number, you need to come back here to do the ATO, the lodgement settings again, which only require for the ATO software nominations for that particular ABN or agent number. Outstanding report sync frequency settings. This is the automatic setting. So instead of you to give you the updated list of your upcoming or outstanding lodgement of your clients, you can set the sync frequency settings. Currently, there are a few options. Daily, it could be weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. We do, unless your client base is excessive, we do recommend on the weekly basis. If you've got a large client base and regularly adding clients into the GovReports account, then the daily option will be a more viable options. Report setting, I will go through some of these shortly. As I mentioned, there are a few options under lodgement settings. You can go through that. The ATO software nomination is a must in order for you to obtain any ATO data or do the lodgements. And you can find that under settings. Okay. ATO software nominations. If this is a new account, you would have the option under software ID to generate the software ID number. Just make sure you copy that number and proceed to the ATO Access Manager to nominate GovReport as your software service provider. Once you've done that, you can tick activate nomination and submit, and that will work. And as I mentioned before, if along the way you change from perhaps from a sole trader to a proprietary limited or the other way around, you need to do this ATO software nominations again to align the ABN or the new agent number with GovReports. Outstanding report setting, as I mentioned, you want an automatic update of your clients' upcoming lodgements, overdue, etc. You need to set the sync frequency settings here, and you can have it daily. There's a drop down. It would have the fortnightly, the weekly, or the monthly. Once you've done that, and if you got individual tax returns, you've got trust account set up to receive refunds on your client's behalf, you will also need to set up the agent trust account and make sure that you have in GovReports or on the ATO nominate the bank details so that and the trust account so that you can click subscribe to EFT reconciliation statements to receive the EFT reconciliation reports. You can also update the trust bank account data if you have changed or resubscribed to the service. If you previously you have canceled from the previous account and need to update the details. Report settings. Report setting is once you do the lodgement in GovReports, we do have an option for you to send the lodgement receipts to your clients to indicate that the lodgement has been completed. And for activity statements, this would also come with the payment details, so your clients can proceed to the to make the payments to the ATO directly. And you would also, under this section, you would also have the options to hide the TFN in GovReports. So any reports that you generate in GovReports, you can either show the TFN for some agents or clients. They might require the TFN to be on it for perhaps for finance or something like that. But if you want to hide the TFN, there's an options for you to go into these sections to hide the TFN. And of course, you can also have the options to hide the banner, the Power by GovReports in reports. And you can also set up, if you've got more than one users in your account, you can also set up the decorations sections. So whether you want the person that prepared the reports names on the decorations, or your details on the decoration sections. The autosave settings now in GovReports, look, because we have different kind of users. Some users prefer the autosave, and some don't want to automatically save the reports while they're working on it. So you can have the options to go in there to switch off the autosave, or to switch it on if you prefer that options. As I mentioned before, the lodgement receipt setting. So when you lodge the activity statements or the tax return, if you want the lodgement receipts to be sent to your clients, you can do so by coming in here and set up the lodgement. They set up the cover email and also the client configurations. Once you tick the send lodgement receipt to clients, you can then go to client configuration and select which clients that you want to send lodgement receipt to. So perhaps in your practice you want to select all clients to receive lodgement receipt, or you want certain clients to receive lodgement receipt and not for all of them. You can select the clients. You can also change the cover email, so the subject, and also the contents of the cover email. Just if you're using these, just make sure you also use the placeholder to insert the details where appropriate, and also place your email signature on at the bottom as well. Now, to use this feature, you will need to have the outgoing email settings in GovReport set up as your own email, as GovReport do not automatically send emails to your clients. So this is an automatic sending feature. So to use this feature, as I mentioned, you will need to set up the outgoing email settings as your own email, not using GovReport's email. As I mentioned, you can also hide the TFN in any reports generated from GovReports. If it has has the client's TFN, you can select to hide the TFN. In most cases, because of compliance these days, we do recommend that you hide the TFN, but there will be reports that you generate and the client, based on the client's request, and you want to show the TFN, you might want to come back here, untick uh, untick this, and then generate report for the clients, and then come back to here and to do the setup again. Report decoration setting, as I mentioned, there are a few options here. You can have the administrate your own. If you are the main account holder, you can have your details on the decoration settings, or you can have the preparer settings, or you can have the partners details on the decoration sections. And autosave, just click switch on and switch off depending on your options. Once you do that, the next setting is the ATO client communications. Fortunately, there is only a click to switch on the ATO client communications. This feature is for you to receive all ATO to receive the ATO client communication. So when the ATO reach out to the clients, whether it's by a letter, a paper letter, a letter, an email, or a text message, or it could also be an inbox inbox to their MyGov emails, you know all the channels will be, you will get a copy of that on the ATO client communications. Now, the way our system works is that we synchronize with the ATO overnight to bring down all the communication that the ATO has generate from their system to communicate with the clients, and then send it to perhaps they send it to the clients overnight. We will, you will get a copy in GovReports. You can view that, and or download it in PDF or email it to your clients directly. You can also, inbox to your, if it's a part related to a partner, you can also email it to your the person, the accountant in charge of or that's managing these clients, so that to notify them this is the recent ATO communications, so that the accountant or that staff member can follow up with the clients. The next setting, as I mentioned, with the ATO, with the outgoing email settings, you can also go into have it set up. By default, when you first register with GovReports, you can use GovReports to send out clients, like reports. But we do recommend that you set up the outgoing email as your own, because GovReports email, can be used by many other people, and because we also send out a lot of emails, internal emails to clients and to yourself and to others, it can be marked as spam. So we do recommend that you set up outgoing email as your own email, so that your clients can recognize and will not see GovReport as a spam email and then just automatically delete it, um, without looking into it, and might the important documents that you send to your clients for signing or for their records. To set up the outgoing email, just click on change, and then you can then select the option who's your email service provider, and just do the setup as like you do with your um, email setup on your mobile devices or your tablets. And also make sure you also set up the email signature, so that your clients will have your contact details readily handy when they receive information from you, and if they've got queries, they can contact you directly. Okay, letters and templates. When you because we have an inbuilt practice management tool features, so you can also in your practice, if you've got letters and templates that you regularly use to send to your clients, you can also set up in GovReports as well. We do have some default letters and templates that you can use, but you can use that as a guide to set up your own. Or if you have your own setup, you can also just copy and paste into here, and make sure you use the placeholder to where appropriate, the fields are appropriate, you can pre-fill those fields into the templates and reuse that for other clients as subsequently. In the e-signature section, which the digital authentication is out the GovReports e-signature applications, you can also set up the cover email templates. So when you are prepared, if you regularly send reports to your clients, perhaps we do recommend that you organize or set up your own cover emails if you don't want to use the GovReports default cover emails. And also set up client passcodes, so that when your clients receive documents from you, instead of receiving security code to their email, they can use the client passcode to access the documents for signing, which I will go through shortly. Oh, it's here. Uh, Part of digital authenticate, if you have been using GovReports, this is the e-signature component. So when you prepare the report and then use the option to save, validate, and send for signature, or from the valid report, you can send for signature, and the report will be attached, and you can add the documents that you need to send to the clients, along with the actual reports. Confirm, check the email address, and also access security. You can choose the options to have the client passcode. The cover email, as I mentioned before, by default, will you have the cover email from GovReports? But if you have set up the cover emails, other cover messages, you can choose. There's a drop down, and you can choose the cover messages that's relevant for this particular report. Right. Once you go into messages, go into digital authentications to click add the messages, and then create the cover, the the message that you want to save, so that you can reuse subsequently. There is a limit. I think at the moment for tax agents, we have up to 10 cover messages that you can save. And if you don't use them regularly, please do just delete them, because like I said, we have a limit as to how many messages that you can save on the system. Once you've done that, you can then go to the contacts, so that you can then set up the client's passcode for each of your clients that you want to that you will be using, that you will be sending reports to for e-signature, for their authorizations. Now, pretty simple. Again, the passcode, it might be part of your engagement onboarding process with the clients. Once you set it, once you onboard them, you might want to send a letter confirming their your engagement and the passcode for them to access the documents that you prepare going forward, and how they get access to it. It might be something like their date of birth, the anniversary date, etc. Okay. Practice setting. If you are considering of using the practice management tool features, you can set up the calendar. Again, it's very simple in our system. If you, depending on the service provider that you use, our GovReports integrated with Outlook and Google Calendar. So if you're using one of those, you can just click to enable the service provider that you use, and then log in, so that you can get the two system connected, so that when you log into GovReports, not only would you have the GovReports calendar, but also your own calendar integrated into GovReports, so that you can see what's upcoming, your schedule, and so forth. So when you work, when you first log in the morning into GovReports, you can see all your tasks, or the schedules that you have for the day. Document settings. Now um, as you can get access to your client's data from GovReports by and have a shortcut access to it if you set up your document settings. So we do not store your data. But we do integrate with Dropbox or Google Drive. So if you set up these features, you can have, for example, it might be their ASICs, their accounts, previous lodgement that you have made for the clients, and you want to keep records of them. So you can, once you create you can you can, like have a shortcut access to it if you attach the documents in GovReports. I mean, on the client's profile, so you will have a shortcut access to it from here. The billing settings, there are several billing settings that you can set up in GovReports. So it can be based on the clients, it can be based on the job, it can be based on the staff member that prepare, or the manager that, or the staff, yeah, the staff rate, the job rate, or the task rate, or the client's rate. You can set one of those. Invoice settings, again, similarly, you can set it up so that the terms and conditions, so that when you create an invoice from here, it would have all those set up for you. But you can also use it directly, but which I will show shortly. The job status settings, currently we do have default job status settings. But if your own practice have certain status or different status, you can set it up so that you can use it in accordance with your workflow as well. And notification settings, we do send out how often you want to receive notifications from GovReports for the work, for the jobs, the tasks, or even weekly notices of your, what you have been working on, etc. You can set up the notification settings in here. Just go click on if you need to do this, just go into the settings and select practice settings so that you can go straight into it. Okay, now I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna log in. So, do we have any to GovReports? Sandeep, do we have any questions?
No, no questions so far.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so we saw earlier from the slides, from so when you log in, you can see the dashboard, and as I mentioned before, you can customize your dashboard by going to customize and select the widgets that you want to use. If you don't want to see, if you want to, these are the current widgets that we have, and every now, like sometimes when we have new features or new widgets, we can have it up there, but otherwise it will be available. Whatever the widgets that we have there, you can select, and if you don't want to use any of them, you can remove them. So for example, I'm going to remove, currently we have the user profile. I'm going to untick that and add the lodgement report. You can see that, save the changes. Once you save the changes, the dashboard will be updated, and then you can now rearrange the widgets how you want to see it, and how you want to see your how you want your dashboard to what's important to you. You can rearrange the widgets that's important to you. Okay, so perhaps as I want the sign reports as the critical one, and the due dates, perhaps I don't need, or I can put it here. You can rearrange it, and subsequently when you log in, the dashboard will be where you last left it. Okay, the outstanding reports, this is the features where you can get access to all your upcoming and overdue uh, lodgement for your clients. Once you click on that, you can, once you got it set up, the sync frequency settings, which I mentioned in the slides earlier, you can set it. If you haven't set it up, you can set it up here. Once you go to the outstanding report, you can then go to the action tab and set up the sync frequency settings. As I mentioned before, there are a few options. You can do it manually if you don't want notifications of upcoming and outstanding lodgements, but there, you can also have daily, weekly, fortnightly, or monthly. If daily is not recommended unless you have regular clients, lodgements, and adding new clients on a regular basis, then maybe the daily option is feasible. But otherwise, the weekly is the most popular, or fortnightly, or even monthly, because the ATO only issues tax return once a year, and activity statements perhaps once a month. Other returns, again, similarly once a year. So weekly would be good enough. Once you've select the option, you can submit to save the changes, and then go back to the the outstanding report so that you can also set up the client configurations. Now, this is only needed to do the first time when you register with us. Otherwise, along the way, if you could add new clients into GovReports, you can just select the options to also obtain the outstanding report for the new clients when you add them in. Like I said, the client config, once you set up the sync frequency settings, then you can set up the clients, whether you want to receive client outstanding reports for them. Now, there's an option there. You can assign all under bulk actions, or unassign all and select the clients that are relevant to your practice that you provide the services for. We do have, like I said, we do have clients every now and then that, some tax agents, some agents clients that we have spoke to in the past, they might provide income tax return for the clients, but they might not do any activity statement lodgements. So then they don't want to be notified. But if it's, I think it's good that you have notification of clients lodgement. So if they have outstanding, a lot of our activity statements lodgement that they have not lodged, but you don't provide that service, and seeing their outstanding lodgement or overdue, you might want to reach out to them and ask them, why these activity statements have not been lodged, and if they require your service. And of course, you can also, to expand the view, you can put up to 100, and then scroll down as you and then to see which clients has not been added. For in this case, all clients have been added, but like I said, if you want to unassign all, so that if you only need to get outstanding report for only a selected client, you can do so. uh, to select the clients that you provide the services for, so that for the outstanding reports. Make sure once you select them, you also save at the bottom, right? Save the changes so that the changes will take effect with with those clients that you have selected. Okay. Again, on here, on here on this page, you can also rearrange how you, if you need to extract the list in CSV or PDF, you can do so by going to um, the action tab and export in CSV. If you need to rearrange the outcome, you can also change that by clicking on the column name, or yeah, click on the name, and you can change based on uh, re not sorted by the due date, or by the period, or by the CRN, or also when it's last get updated. The A2 client communications, as I mentioned, as I shown you before, um, you can view, you can download, or you can email. With the email options, it will be attached as a PDF along with the cover email. Now, and because this is a real-time data that we obtain from the ATO, so we do not redact the TFN. Currently, we do not redact the TFN because it is the actual ATO documents. Having said that, we are considering of changing the format as to how the clients, if you choose the options to email to your clients, I think later after the tax time, we will be updating the new versions of this. So when it will not be coming through as a PDF anymore, but it will come as a link. So when your client click on that link, if you set up the client code, it will come. The client will have to enter the code in order to get access to the documents. Now, so And you can also, as I mentioned, because it's ATO client communications, you can send an email to your clients, or you can forward that to the partner or the manager or the accountant in charge, so that they can follow up with the clients, depending on the severity or the importance of the communications. Um, EFT reconciliation statements. Now, on the client's profile, on the clients, you, if depending on your practice, as I mentioned before, you can set up tags so that if there are managers that clients that belongs to a certain partners or a certain managers, you can create tags to associate that with that client, so that when you are searching for clients that are managed by a particular manager or lodged by a particular managers, etc., you can search by the filter by the tag, and then obtain the list of those clients under those managers or tax agents. Field. Okay. So on the client's profile, if the client is if this is a client that has share that has not share joint ownership of assets, or for depreciations, or for income or whatever, you can link the client by adding the client's details to link with that for the assets allocations and or income. You can add the client's details, depending, like I said, depending on the situations, you can confirm and then just fill up the details. Uh, as part of the setup letters, again, if you go into the add letter, you would have access to the default um, emails and templates, letters and templates, but you can also set up your own by clicking add template, and just you can copy and paste, or create the new template completely, or just using one of our default templates and customize to your own and save it as a template, so that you can assign it to the clients that you know that relevant, or that require the or the letter that you need to send to that client. As I mentioned before, if this is the first time you're using the system and you want to bring across the existing, you want to keep records of the previous lodgements, you can add them as an attachment. It is a PDF, not or whatever file access that you have, but it will not be on the tax return. Mm. Once you do the setup, it's good to know, if it's new and you're not too sure whether the account is working or not. It's quite easy. You either add the clients and import the single clients. If the clients come across, you will know that it's working. And to check whether the client's information has come across, especially when you're importing clients from another software, it's we going using the ATO for lodgements. It might be automatic, but for example, activity statements, sometimes the clients for income tax, the ABN and tax file number would work, and it will come through automatically. But for activity statements, it can be a different branch number. To check those things, you can go into the ATO accounts, click synchronize, and then you can see there, for the income tax account, the branch number is 551, but for the integrated clients account, the branch number is 1. So, but having said that, with tax file number, it works for income tax. But for the activity statements, just make sure that you check the branch number is also correct, matching with the client's profile that you have imported from the ATO or from the other software, so that when you prepare the activity statements, or you can obtain the outstanding reports and also lodge the activity statement under the right correct branch. And it's also important as well with the SDP. If you're doing SDP for your clients from GovReports, just make sure the branch number is correct, so that it will be reflected on the ATO details correctly. Okay. If this is a new client, once you add, if you can add new clients into GovReports, completely new, and you will not need to go to the ATO portal to add the clients. Having said that, if it's an individual, you can add it directly into GovReports by entering their TFN, their name, etc. You complete the details. Then you come to the client's profile here and go into the ATO services to add to and select maintain authorizations to add the client onto your ATO portal without having to go into the ATO to do it yourself. Having said that, if it's a company or a trust or a partnership, unfortunately, the clients will need to still have to complete the agent linking before you can add the client onto your ATO portal. Okay, and you can also check if you're doing individual tax return for your clients, and make sure that and you want to change your the banking details into your trust account details. Just make sure that you're also updating the financial institution details of the clients here as well. That's if it's a new client. Okay, I think that's pretty much the settings. Now, other features that you might find it useful as well. Set passcode. If this is your own entity and you do not want your staff to get access to have access to your profile, you can set the passcode to lock these clients, so that no one will have access to the informations that is on these clients. We In terms of new features, we will go through that in the next week's sessions, but that's one of the features that you can set the passcode to lock the clients, and no one in your practice will have access to that particular client. Also, once you prepare the reports, you can then um, of course, send it to the clients for signature. But you can also lock, you can, depending on your practice workflow, you can also create folders and assign it to, like a staff member in the practice to review, etc. Those features, again, I think I will not go. You will have that options. If I go actually into save reports, you can create. You can see that I have created folders, activity statement pending, and finalized activity statement. So you can create tick to select the report and create folders, and notify the staff member the color of the folders that they need to be they need to get, clients under those folders that needs to be addressed by them. Yeah, you can create folders and then assign those reports into that folder, so that the staff member will be attending to those. You can also schedule the lodgements. um, once the report is valid status, you can schedule for lodgements on perhaps on the due date, and the time you can also set up the time as well. I have selected the draft report, so I can't do that. Select again, schedule the lodgement. That report is valid, so now I can set up, if the due date is next week, I can set up the date, say it's 29th, and the time that it will be lodged. So on right on the due date and the time before it's switched on to the next day or whatever. So that's basically it, really, as part of the settings. And then, of course, if you're using the for lodgement, it's pretty simple. Once you go to the client's profile, by click on the client's name, and if it is an outstanding upcoming lodgement, you can get access to the form from under actions to click prepare, and it will take you straight into the preparations of of uh, of the report that's upcoming. Or you can go to forms. It's coming soon. Okay, I'm going to switch that off. Or you can go to forms to select the appropriate the report that you want to prepare, and confirm the period. So in this case, I'm going to, for easier access, I'm going to select the activity statements. Especially you go to forms, the difference between report that you get access from the outstanding reports and the forms, the report that you get access from forms. With the outstanding reports, it's the upcoming, and it's new, it's upcoming, or it's overdue lodgement. It has not been lodged before. But if you need to do a revisions, go to forms, go to the client's profile, go to forms, and then select the appropriate report and confirm the period. And depending on whether it's an activity statement, you would have the options to choose the revisions. But if it's a tax return, and if it was previously lodged outside of GovReports, there is a section that you can mark it as an amendment so that it will be submitted to the ATO correctly. If you accidentally, if it was previously lodged by an outside of GovReports, and you are now going to GovReports to prepare the report, and without selecting that this is an amendment, unfortunately, when you try to lodge, it would notify you that the report cannot be lodged because it's not accepting. It already has a record in ATO at the ATO. So that's pretty much. I think I cover all of the settings. The tax return, we do have an upcoming webinar tomorrow to show you how you can prepare the tax returns in GovReports. Now, with I won't go through the lodgement process, as like I said, it will be just you just follow the prompts to fill out the details, and there will be another session that we can cover through. Um, the lodgement process. But for those that are interested in the tax return lodgement, how to prepare tax return in GovReports, that's the sessions tomorrow, and we will also show you not only how to do prepare, but also the comparisons between the it is a new format for the 2024 onwards. 23 previously, if you have used GovReports previously, you would notice that 23 tax return have a different format, and the 24 onwards will have a different format, and we will go through that tomorrow. Okay, questions?
So no questions. Yeah.
Okay, as I mentioned before, if you do have questions post these sessions, or after the webinar, you can always reach out to us, and we do have a very responsive telephone support system and or email as well. Okay, it looks like it's pretty easy. Okay, no questions? Well, thank you everyone. Um, for Thank you everyone. Again, like I said, reach out if you've got questions. Thanks again.